All right, guys, can you hear me? I think we're officially live. First time in the brand new card studio. Well, not really a studio yet. We have one wall painted, but eventually we'll have a nice backdrop and everything over there. But there we go. Awesome. Well, we're going to be inviting on special guests today, Steven. If you don't know who Steven is, he helps also run Breakout Cards. He does more of the back end side of things, a lot of shipping, mailing, billing, all that type of stuff. So he's built a pretty incredible collection over the last few years. Some of it gets shown on social media, some of it does not, but some really, really cool cards that some of you guys have never seen before. Some really, really, really rare stuff in general. So just sent him the invite link. He will be joining it shortly. And we'll get going through there. You're going to go some card shows this weekend? I don't know if I will be. No, next weekend is Houston TriStar, which I'm pretty excited for that. It's been like almost 2 years since I've been there, but pretty good vintage show. Steven, if you're ready, give me a thumbs up and I'll throw you in the stream. You good? All right, he's ready. So I'm going to add him in, guys.
Hey guys, how's everybody doing?
What's up, man? All right, so we're doing the live element a little weird compared to the past last year or so. I don't know how many episodes we did, like 30 or so. And it was fun doing those, but I think the live element adds a little bit more to it because you guys can actually interview as well the guests that we have on each week. And that way you guys can learn a little bit more about the cards and the person behind the cards. So this is Steven. Like I said, runs part of the channel as well. You guys probably have gotten your mail from him, but some really, really sick stuff. So maybe you want to tell him like how your collection has really revolutionized over the last 2 or 3 years, going from kind of modern basketball to getting some really, really cool stuff.
Yeah, so what's up, guys? For those of you who don't know me, I'm Steven. Ryan and I started Breakout. I think it's been 2.5 years, right?
Yeah, pretty much. When we were Runners Club at UCF.
Yeah, and the first card show, I remember we went to I think it was the Orlando card show. It's in Apopka, which we still sometimes go to every so often. But that was kind of the first one where Ryan hit me up, was like, "Hey, Steven, let's go to the show. It's pretty cool." And I was like, "All right, you know what? I'll give it a shot. Like, why not?" I always liked it as a kid, but I never really got to see the card show scene until I kind of met Ryan that one show. And then, I mean, fast forward to today, a lot has happened. I initially was into like just modern basketball cards here and there. We'll collect a few rookie cards. And I mean, Ryan and I really did get into, I mean, one, the YouTube aspect, but also everything else at the right time because things did go absolutely exponential at that point. And then throughout the years too, I've changed my style of collecting a little bit. I still do like basketball, and then I've also added a bunch of really awesome baseball stuff. And I have it with me in my briefcase to share with you guys today.
Awesome. So we have a few people that join. Is it going, Rose? Matt, you're going to see some really, really sick stuff. I'm telling you, man. Like a lot of the cards that Steven has, I'm jealous of because I want them in my PC too. Love the vintage. What is up, Orlando? Also, he's going to be on the show probably in a month or so or a few weeks. I don't know. Orlando, you're allowed whenever. You got to show your full Goodwin set, man. That's insane. Plus, you have a lot of other stuff too. Ash saying hi to Orlando. But yeah, you want to tell people a few different sides of your vintage PC because it's not just like strictly baseball or like just pre-war baseball. You have a few different sections.
Yeah, so I would say that my PC is sectioned off in certain different ways, and I have multiple stuff. One of which is, I guess, to start, and we're gonna go chronological. I do have some cool Cap Anson cards in the PC. Let me bring those. I'll bring those out now, and I'll just go through as we go through different sections and such.
Yeah. So while you get those out, if you guys don't know who Cap Anson is, I believe he's the first player to have 3,000 hits. One of the best. I shouldn't even say one of the best. Probably the best hitter on the 1800s side of things. People can argue whether him or Kid Nichols was the better overall player in general, but still well regarded. Also, he was in the one Simpson episode as well.
Oh, that's I remember when you made the Cap Anson video and we put that one in. Yeah, no,
Yep.
that was a cool one. So here I'm going to show the first one we have is Allen and Ginter right here in SGC4. Is that good? Yeah, there we go. Check that out. I'll show it as close as I can. And then the back as well. So before I put this one away, interesting story. I actually traded for this a while ago on a Facebook group, and I was going through, and I mean, at the time, I think this was might have been 2020. This is one card that has like been appreciating over the years, and a pretty cool card as well. I saw it in a 4, and I was like, oh my god, this is pretty cool. I actually remember waiting until I told Ryan, and I was like, because I know he wanted it first, and I was like, hey, like this is here. If you end up passing on it, it's okay, and I'll go for it, but I want to come to you first. So I made sure to do that. And then afterwards, I shot the guy I was talking to some trades, and I think I had some of the stuff that was, I guess, more like liquid, but definitely common stuff. I was able to trade. I threw on some cash as well, and I ended up getting in this Cap Anson card, which I'm really excited about. This is one of my favorite ones. It just looks really cool, and it's from an iconic set as well.
Dude, I wish I had the money back then, because I saw that card and I was like, I really wanted it, especially because like there's such a big price difference between like a 4 and a 5 or a 6. But then at the time, and I know it's different now, but like anywhere from a 2, 3, 4 were only a couple $100s around each other. It's like you might as well get a 4 at that point. But I'm really glad you didn't sell it. You had a few opportunities to sell it or trade it, and I'm like, dude, you got to keep onto this card for a while.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I did have some that were pretty tempting. So I ended up getting into this card, just to be transparent with you guys, I think around like $2,500 at the time. Oh, Collector's Dream, thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, it was around, I think, $2,500 is what I ended up like getting into, like with trade approximately. And then like over time, like this is one that I've just held, and like there's been sales recently of like PSA 4s and 5s being around like the 7, 8K range, which is pretty crazy.
And
Like,
the ones are doing like 3,000 right now.
yeah, I remember someone had recently in one of our Facebook groups like an SGC one. He's trying to get 3,000 for, and I was like, oh my god, like that's crazy. I didn't think I'd be in the hobby long enough to be like, oh, I remember back in the day when I picked up this, but I had like one of those moments, which is pretty cool.
But I like your other Anson actually better than the Allen and Ginter.
Yeah, so good transition. Now we're gonna go to the next ones. This is his last playing day card, the Mayo's Cut Anson. It's a really cool picture, nice sepia tone card over here. And I got this actually on PWCC, funny enough, of all places, which is pretty unexpected given it's not the place that you like expect to find a like Cap Anson out of all things, but it was for like a decent price, and I was like, you know what, this is pretty cool. It's a player I want to collect. So yeah, Cap Anson is one of those that from the era that I like to collect, and he's probably my main PC from that era. And I ended up picking this up, and I was super excited about it. And I'm definitely looking for other answers too. It just they are very expensive. There's no such thing as like a cheap playing day Cap Anson card there. So you got to keep that in mind as well when looking for your stuff. But really excited for this one, and that's the only other one that I have in my PC so far. But definitely looking to add others as time progresses.
Yeah, I was gonna actually look for my Mayo boxers just to show someone another set. I don't have a football player. I have one of the boxers though over here, unless it's in another box. Just moved, so I don't have everything organized yet, but I'm looking for that for 1 second. So also around the 1890s, kind of a cool set. I think it's in this box. I hope it is. If not,
do the box ones look the same or like pretty similar? Or they're in the
no, they're completely different. Oh, here you go.
Oh,
so this is what the boxing set looks like. I know a lot of people are familiar with the baseball card set, but this is Peter Jackson right here.
It's got a dual comparison right here, so everybody can see. There we go.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Now the football cards look like the baseball as well, but you guys can kind of see my camera.
Are they black on the? Is it full black border on the, or no? It's white probably.
That's with your standard cardboard back.
Oh, interesting.
But then you also see the logo and everything like that right over there. So kind of cool.
Pretty cool.
But it's a really cool release set. Like I enjoyed the graphics on them. Definitely stand out.
I guess I'm just gonna, I was gonna do through sports, but now I guess we can go like chronologically if you want, just through the time.
You might as well.
What's up? So starting up with that, and then so the next one here, this is a piece that I'm really excited about. I got it recently on auction, and it's something I had to move some other cards for, but it was just such a cool thing that I had to grab it. It's a little big, but this is one of Cy Young's rookie cards, believe it or not. Let's see if I get it all in the frame. There we go. And it's pretty, judging how close it is to my head, it's a pretty big card, no pun intended, in size and then also value as well to me.
You got to compare it to a normal slab so people realize the extent of this.
Let me go up the Cap Anson. So this is what a normal slab looks like. This is what the Cy Young looks like. There we go. A lot bigger. Like,
I mean, that one bottom right corner, or the left on the screen right now, is literally the size of a card that's ripped off.
Yeah, this is considered like decent condition. And then I'm going to show you guys the back too, which is pretty cool because these cards, this was the first time they even used bios on cards from this set. And a lot of players, believe it or not, like even like Honus Wagner, I want to say like Willie Keeler, some other, even Nat Lajoie.
Yeah, Nat Lajoie is in that set too, I think.
These are their rookie cards, believe it or not. And these cards, so to talk about it a little bit more, and I also had this in I posted this as well. So the reason why, yes, exactly. They were newspaper inserts, so it's only from a certain day. I'm going to zoom it in, and I think it's so December 9th, 1899. As you guys can see right there, that was the only day that this card was in the news. So you had to have purchased it at that time to be able to, or purchase the news at that time to be able to go through and actually have it, which is pretty cool. Like you have to really go through the news and like have the news at that time, which is pretty interesting. So
that's 10 years. That's also 10 years before his T206 card, which a lot of people still want, which is a great card.
His card. So some other, there's a lot of interesting facts about this card. I went over a little bit in the Instagram post, but I'm glad to be able to share it with you guys today. One of which is this is him in his St. Louis uniform as well, which he really doesn't, I don't think he has any other cards in. So that's pretty cool. If you can check that out right there at the bottom. Also on these is the first, we talked about it, first time that they ever used the bio on cards, and the back is just pretty cool. And then was there anything else? I wanted to think if there was anything else I'm missing, but I think that's about it for the unique stuff. Oh, and then last thing, so this is Cy Young's first issue that's outside of a team issue. A lot of his other stuff, even like his Just So, for example, like Just So tobacco card, which is like his best card, or even some other ones that have use the same portrait as Just So. I think they're from Rider Studios. They are in a team issue set, so that there's really just the Cleveland Spiders that's there and not any other teams. So even though that's definitely his first card for sure, this is his first one in an actual set. So I find that pretty cool.
And I don't even think the Just So has sold. And if it did sell, I mean, I'm sure it'd probably be a 7-figure card. So what you picked that up for, I was like, you got a steal right there. I know you sold what your OJ John Clarkson in a 4, and that's a tough one to swallow, man. Like that's a great card, and especially the imagery on it. But to be able to pick up that Cy Young.
Yes, so that was actually for the Cy Young, the ones I had to. I think that the Clarkson that was actually sold a while ago for other pickups that you guys are going to see, but for the Cy Young, I had to let go of a Tip Top Red Yogi Berra. That was probably the hardest one. Although, like, I think I'm eventually going to get it back. It was one of the hardest ones to let go of, unfortunately, and definitely looking to acquire another one when I can. But it is what it is. You got to make your trade ups, and then a Warren Spahn from Tip Top Red, which sucks too. But I did like the Yogi Berra a lot, so that's one I'm definitely going to pursue to get back. And then I believe there was another, like a few other smaller cards that I also had to let go of, and then I ended up making up the costs and using some cash.
And if you guys aren't familiar with Tip Top, those are from 1947. So a lot of people allude to like the 1948 Bowman's rookie cards. These are a lot tougher to find.
And then speaking of, that's a good transition to, actually, sorry, we're going chronological. I almost forgot. I have, so this is going to be, I have the next one ready. I was going to go to 1947. I was like, wait, I have some other cards in there. So this one, I'm going to take this out of the little, let's see here. I'm going to take it out of the plastic so you guys can see better. But this right here, Transitioning Sports 2, is Jim Thorpe's True Rookie Postcard from 1912. This came after the 1912 Olympics, I believe. And I'm pretty sure he won the decathlon at this Olympics and also the heptathlon, I think. You might have to double check me on that. But yeah, so this one here, it's altered because you can see on the bottom where there's like a little bit more, like it didn't really get ripped off right, but not bad for just an authentic card. And this is one that I actually got to pick up like fairly affordable too. I think I got it recently for, I think it was $715. So I think I got a pretty decent deal there. And just really excited to be able to go ahead and have this one. And it's something that like I wanted, like a good Jim Thorpe card. Is 1916. His first baseball card is just insane.
It's like 6 figures.
Oh no, it's like
6 figures.
I think it's like probably like 30 to 40K in like decent condition, like
a little off
or something like that. I remember looking at like REA, but yeah, there's those are super expensive. His PCL card also very expensive. I remember Ryan and I were looking at those
about 5 to 10K on that one in a one.
And then there's his football ones, which are definitely cool. But like this one for his rookie actually is a believe it or not, a cheaper card than some of the other ones. I thought that was cool. And also me being a big runner, it's cool to have like a runner in my PC. Yeah, no, Paul, it's pretty crazy that once they get into good condition for these, then they start to definitely go up. But yeah, I think like these were when I saw it listed, it was just like a steal for the price, and I was like, oh, this is I need to have this. And if it comes out on the right price, like I'd be silly not to. So really cool addition with the Jim Thorpe. I'm gonna give you guys one more zoom up here. But yeah, Paul, I absolutely agree on that. I think this one should be worth more a little bit too.
What's good, global sports card investor? And yeah, I mean, honestly, like the one type of cards that I don't mind being an A is postcards, because a lot of people will write all over the back on those anyways. And a lot of them are going to be sent through the mail. So regardless, they are pretty cool.
And
what's up, Ben?
Right, so let's see where we are here in the timeline. I'm trying to figure it out. I'll try to make it chronological, but I wanted to see if there's anything else I had.
While he looks for the next card, how do you guys like the format of this? Do you prefer the live streams? Do you prefer them pre-recorded? I like the live streams because you guys can ask questions as well through this. I'm gonna give you 20K to invest in one vintage card right now. What would you purchase and at what grade? Man. Ooh. So for me, my like number one vintage card that I want right now, and there's a few that I want. And it's tough saying them because like I really, really want these cards and I don't want them to get purchased, but they don't pop up that often. I want to get the old Judge WG Grace. If you don't know who WG Grace is, he's a cricketer. Now that card's nowhere near 20K, but it's like good luck finding it. There's probably a very few.
Old Judge? I didn't even know that.
Yeah, they have cricketers and old Judge as well. So I'd like to have that card around the 20K range, though. I would assume it hasn't sold in forever. Is the Jack Johnson Red Sun from 1910. It's a really, really iconic card. I hope I get him on the show eventually, but Al has 2 copies of it, and they're so tough to find. I think there's only 4 or 5 of those, and I'm working on getting some Red Suns, Sam Langford, hopefully in a few weeks. And then also, I know Paul said it over here. Yeah, I would like to have a 35 Nagurski. I don't know if I'm going to get a 4 through 6 for any long time, but eventually I want to get at least like a 1 or 2 in the collection. I have 1 Nagurski. I have his 38 Dixie lids, and that took a little bit to find, but I definitely want to upgrade to the 35 and, of course, the 33, which Paul has. And there's a whole video on the channel already with that. What an amazing card.
I guess if I want to respond to that one too. I guess if I had to have 20K and 1 card, I don't know how much this one would go for because it hasn't sold in, I think it's been like 5 to 10 years, but the Honus Wagner version of the Cy Young that I showed you guys, it does exist. That's his first card, I think, as well as it being like something to be considered his true rookie card. So if I could find that one and get it, that would be really cool. Because I think that's also around like it's got to be like a pop 3 or pop 4,
something like that. There's someone on Twitter that owns that card. He's posted it a few times. I forget who it is.
Yeah, it's a Beck Authentic Alter. I've seen he has a YouTube channel as well. I forgot what it's called.
Yeah, I know.
I had to look at it. That's the only person I know that has one. But it's
pretty much. So we got a few more comments here real quick, and we'll go to the next few cards. Jackson, what is good, man? Like a Walter Johnson Romley. Yeah, that's up there for my baseball pre-war cards. I have a T206 overprint, and I would sell that in a heartbeat for that example. 1915 Cracker Jack Joe Jackson. I want a Joe Jackson in my PC, but they're so expensive. Great answers. Hey, Ryan, if you could spend a day with any Hall of Fame, dead or alive, who do you pick? I mean, I'm Ryan Nolan, so I'd love to meet Nolan Ryan. I think that'd be kind of cool. I was looking at purchasing a Don Bradman cricket card. He has definitely a ton of cricket cards, but there's a lot of research on it. There's so many that are really, really common in the 30s that you can find very, very cheap, but his rare examples are extremely expensive. And again, good luck finding them.
But even his other
DG Grace for life. There you go.
His other rookie card isn't too expensive now, actually.
No, it's gone down a ton, which is, I mean, it's good to see in a sense because they've skyrocketed so fast. Like, as a collector, you don't want super, super high prices when you're trying to buy stuff. How about an E107 Nap Lajoie? I definitely want to get that. I also want to get the Honus Wagner in that set, but that's a big good luck.
Oh my God. All right. So so now we're going back to 1930s, right? This is where my PC leads off here. And we have 2 from the Delvo Aguila set, both of Martin Dihigo, which 5 Hall of Fames. And these are his, like, one of his only playing day cards. He has a rookie that is, I believe, like a pop 2. And this is one of his only playing day cards, Martin Dihigo. This is his first card in the set. This is actually the highest graded, which I think is pretty awesome. And I'm super glad to own this. Actually, I got this off of eBay. I saw it and I immediately was like, oh my God, I have to be able to pull funds together to get this. Like, this is just freaking cool. I'm not going to be able to, can't find one that's better looking. So I thought that was just really awesome.
That was the old judge you sold it for. I misspoke earlier.
Yeah, that was
I remember it now.
If you guys remember the video from a long time ago, I had a Clarkson old judge and I ended up selling it to get the Martin Dihigo highest graded. And it was tough, but I mean, I just thought for this one, like, it was just super cool. This is a pop 7, that one, I think, around pop 7 between PSA and SGC, and that is the highest graded out of both companies. So I just think that's a pretty crazy card to have. And Martin Dihigo is just like a really cool player that some people don't even know about, nicknamed El Immortal. Pretty cool, and just 5 Hall of Fames. He's only one of 2 people to do that. The other one being Willie Wells, who has no playing day cards. So I just thought that was really cool and awesome pickup. And also, I have another one of his cards. This is one of my favorite portraits. And Ryan remembers, someone put some of these on eBay, and I almost bought one like this, but I ended up going with the other one. It was
told you go card number 1 because so I didn't even know until researching, but the first card in the set has a bit of a premium. I'm not sure why. Maybe it's because it's the first image. Maybe it's a little bit of a scarcer card. Didn't do my full due diligence, but looking at some comps at some auction houses, it definitely had, like, I don't know, it was like 2 or 3 times the price of some of the other ones.
And here's them back to back. I really like I actually really do like almost the image on the later card better than the first, although they both look really cool and they're both awesome images. But the one of him running the base is just such a close up. And in these sets too, the double Aguilas, you mostly see 2 people in it. So for that one, just have him running, I just thought was very cool. And then also I'm going to show these real quickly. These are definitely the big ones from double Aguila, but I do have a few others as well from the set here. So I have one that's Roa versus Caribe, and it's Manuel Cocoena Garcia. Not a Hall of Famer, but he maybe has the potential to be. I know Ryan and I've looked a bunch of stuff up on, like, I believe it was Saber or like some other like websites talking about the player at least. And it sucks that some of these guys just don't have a lot of stats, so it's kind of hard for people to base them off Hall of Famers, although there's a lot of cool stories to be told about these and a lot of untold stories.
Yeah, and some of them are in, like, the Cuban or Puerto Rican baseball Hall of Fames and different things like that, or other Latin American countries. So it's really, and the interesting thing is on a lot of, like, the Wikipedia pages, they don't even have a lot of information. So you really got to dive deep to learn about these players.
And also, I also do have the highest Titelo Vargas as well in a 4-5. This is one of his first cards. He had the highest batting average of all time in I guess the Baseball Reference puts it as in the major leagues, although he didn't obviously play in the MLB, but he does have one of the highest batting averages of all time. I think it was 4.78 or something like that, which is
Something
pretty
stupid like that. A lot less at bats because the record keeping was pretty bad back then. But based off of the records that they have, he's number 1. But different sites have, like, different thresholds on what they consider. But we have a few other comments real quick. I'm going to go through those.
Yeah, go.
I know you don't focus more on baseball, but who do you predict to win this weekend's NFL game? I'll be honest with you. I'm a Bucs fan. We're out. I don't really care. I'll be honest. Also, I have not watched one football game this year, so I could not tell you anything.
Yeah, I'm a Dolphins fan from Miami, and I was bad that they lost to the Bills earlier on.
Then we got a few more comments about that. So, all right, let's jump into the next cards.
Yeah, I just realized I completely missed. So I went up to the 1930s. I had to go back down to the 1920s. So I just realized I missed Babe Ruth.
Well, you missed. Oh, yeah, that's right.
I completely missed that. So let's go on and show these. First, I'm going to go with the 1921. This is an Oxford confectionery Babe Ruth. This is a really tough Babe Ruth. And any Babe Ruth, once you get in like the earlier 20s, it just becomes hard to see his cards at all, let alone ones that are like actual portraits, not, hand cuts or just cartoon strip cards. So this one is from Oxford Confectionery. It says Oxford Conf on there. So they're given out with caramels. This card is, I believe it's around a pop 30. I think it might be a little more between like PSA and SGC, but pretty much around there, which is really cool. And it's one that's just kind of unique that most people wouldn't think of. And yeah, Oxford Root. There's also a bunch of others. I think there's like a good Ty Cobb in there as well. There's some other really cool cards in the set, but I was happy to pick up that one. That is, I think, like my best Ruth in my collection. And it was something. Oh, you know what? I think
he might have dropped out.
that I picked up. Funny enough, from those proceeds, when I don't know if any of you guys remember that. That was a long time ago when I made the video, but it's still on our site. The one about the Charizard pickup that I ended up grading. You remember that, Ryan?
I don't know if you cut out or I cut out, but you're talking about how selling the one Charizard 10 for that. I mean, it was well worth it. That was the biggest flip at a card show, just buying that raw and then somehow got a 10.
Yeah, that was crazy. I just knew it looked nice and I went for it. And anywho, so going back to the Ruth story, I like part of the funds that I had for that were used on this Ruth, which I think is a really cool card. I've had it this is a card that one of the cards I've had on my PC the longest, I think around 2 to 3 years at this point, and I just love it. I think it's super cool. And then next card, I was able to get the Nielsen's Chocolate Ruth, which is the same portrait as the American Caramel from 1922. This one is an authentic, but any of them, even just an authentic, it's like still fairly expensive. I think I paid around like 4.5K for this one. It's really cool card here. It ended up, it's like a little bit light on the front, so it ended up getting the authentic altered. Also, the back was a little rough as well, but not too bad on the paper loss there. And believe it or not, Nielsen's is the Canadian version of American Caramel. So this is almost, if you want to make an analogy, this is like the O-Pee-Chee of that day, which is pretty cool.
All right, so we got a few more comments we're going to go through real quick.
Go for it.
Question for you both. What is your fantasy draft using the cards you have? What is your ideal lineup? That'd take a while to go through that, so we'll go over that another time.
No, I have too much to do.
We have a lot, and honestly, I would have to really, really think about the cards I have in my collection. That could be a full-on hour discussion. Do you listen to Pantera? A little bit. They're not my favorite band, but they have some good songs. I might see them this year at Rockville. We'll have to see if the schedule lines up. Hey, I'm a 14-year-old boy, and I love vintage. Really great to see you getting into that. Also, awesome name, Cracker Jack Cards. Do you collect any signed 1952 tops? I have none in my collection. They're really, really cool, but I just don't see them fitting in there at the moment. Ryan freaking about the guest lost internet connection. Also, Ryan, after getting internet back, happened to someone else. Yeah, so I didn't have internet for like 2 weeks when I moved into my new house. Unfortunately, on that side of things. Over the summer, we need to meet at the Boston card show. I'll definitely be back to Boston later this year. I'm not sure which one. I think the Shriners show is out over there. I think that's in November or something like that. I got to check that out still, but that's like the big vintage Boston show.
Oh, interesting.
I had to grab tickets. They're on bucket list. Absolutely. I think they're also playing with Lamb of God, which I've seen them twice. Once with Slayer and once with Slipknot, I think, but never headline. Favorite set. All right, Steven, what's your favorite set?
Ooh, let's see here. If I had to go, oh man, that's a tough one. I'm gonna go with something unique. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna stick with the supplements. The like the card I showed earlier. I'm gonna stick with the M101 set because a lot of people don't know about it. I think it's slept on. They're pretty big cards. No pun intended again. And I think there's a lot of like Hall of Famers in there. Where those are considered their rookie cards, and a lot of people don't know about it. So I'm gonna go with that.
All right, my favorite set right here is the Lone Jack Inventors. So I'm building this set. There's only 25 cards, I believe, in the set, but it's going to take me probably 10 years to build it just because they never come up. If you guys don't know my background, I studied electrical engineering in college. I now do data, but it's really, really cool because you have all these iconic people that help shape our world as it is today. And they're very, very tough. Like there's probably less than 10 examples of every single person in the set. Lucky enough, I kid you not, there was 1 week where I picked up the Thomas Edison and the Ben Franklin. It was like over a 2 week period, right? I picked up the Thomas Franklin and Ben Franklin, which both of those I searched for like 2 or 3 years. And somehow within a 1 week span, both of them popped up. So I was super thrilled with that. And Ben Franklin right now is at SGC. That'll get graded and come back in a week or so.
Check that out. So you'll be getting that next mail day. We'll be including that one. So that's a little preview.
Yeah. So I know it's a non-sports release, but it's still my favorite. And right now I'm 33% done, somewhere around there. I think I have like 8 or 9 of them. I have to double check because I have like a few dupes. The problem is, like, you got to pick up the dupes because the people collecting the set will not sell you the cards as dupes. They only want to trade for others. So one of those that's kind of very, very tough to build. And I know a few people that spent over 20 years trying to build it. So I don't want to be at 20 years. I want to be at 5 to 10, but we'll see.
Right. Any more comments? Or I'm going to go on.
Yeah, there's a few more. I have a question. Have you guys ever heard of Spalding Champions? I showed them off my channel, but I don't know much about them. You're 14 and you have Spalding Champs. That is amazing. And yes, I want to get the Red Grange in that set. There's also a Jack Dempsey. There's also some like historical kind of non-sports people in there too. Really, really cool.
We had your channel not long ago, I think.
What?
We had a Grover Cleveland Alexander.
Yeah, we had the Grover Cleveland, and that sold super fast. Vintage kid building an auto 52 set. It might be. I mean, that if you're building a 52 auto set and you have Spalding Champs, like, you definitely got to be on an episode. Do you ever see super old vintage hockey at card shows throughout the States? Not really. There's like a few dealers. I have only one older hockey card in my collection. It's from 1933 Sports Kings. The name is blanking me right now.
Eddie Shore.
It's Eddie Shore. Eddie Shore. Yeah. And I have that in a 7. So when I saw that a 7, I was like, I had to buy that card. You just don't see those. I actually traded my Dizzy D 1933 Gaudy and some cash for it, which I was a 2 or a 3 at the time. Well, Ovechkin, Pats, Gretzky. I'll be honest with you. I heard he's getting pretty close. I don't really follow as much hockey stats, but I mean, I've heard he's also been playing pretty well. And if he's going to continue to play over the next few seasons, it's going to happen. Hello, everyone. Would you ever do a vintage pack opening? Dude, that's so risky, especially with people resealing packs and everything like that. We'll do a few more questions and then we'll jump back into some more cards, Steven. Also, sorry I couldn't find any of the cards you wanted in France. That's all right. Like, so you guys know, like, if there's a non-sports set called Felix Podens, there's some boxers that I want in there, some non-sports figures, and there's also a bicyclist that I want who's like $1,000 now. So don't buy him because I eventually want to get one. All right, so we'll have you go through a few more things, Steven, and then we'll answer a few more questions.
All right, so now we're jumping to 1945-46, and we have the Carmelo Deportivo set. So first one, I'm going to start off with one I'm really excited about here. This is a mini Minoso. This is pre-rookie, actually, from the set, and I have it autographed, which is a Pop 2.
Yeah, I remember when you got that, and I was just like, how?
And I have a story to tell with this one too, as an interesting story. That's what I love about a lot of these cards. One, it's a pretty good looking one because it's like not, I mean, centered. It has like the little like lines going through. So definitionally it is a 1, but I mean, it looks fairly nice. So the story about that card, I got it from someone who put it on eBay. He got it hand signed by Minoso, and he, I think, was also from Florida. And he like knew him like fairly well, and he's able to get that one signed. And it's just kind of crazy because there's barely any signed cards from the set at all, just because of a lot of the players that either like passed away. Like, it's just been a really long time. And you having to get that one and slab it. And then I saw it, and it was up on eBay for a really high price. And I just messaged him, and I was like, hey, I don't know if you're like stuck at this price or whatever. Like, I saw him drop it, and I shot him an offer, and he ended up accepting, which I didn't even think he would go for, because I did give him a good offer, don't get me wrong, but it wasn't necessarily that close to his eBay ask price. But we ended up going down to a number, and we got to it, and I was super thrilled to have it. And it's definitely one of the cornerstones of my PC, and definitely like a Minoso Grail for sure. So that's cool.
And then you have a few other Hall of Famers too.
And next one, so this is another Hall of Famer, which I do collect the Hall of Famers from I play the Negro Leagues, little Ray Dandridge. So I got the trade. We'll do partial trade for this, which I was super excited about, because for me, like when I have like cards that I do collect things that are fairly rare, so it's kind of hard for me to find stuff. So when I can trade for some, I get really excited. I was able to partially trade for the Dandridge, so super happy to have this one in the PC. This is my second one from the set that I have, and I'm excited. I'm still going after stuff like that. Like, I'm looking for a Ray Brown currently. I know it'll eventually pop up. I know Ryan has one.
Yeah, I overpaid a little bit for mine at the National, but like, you just don't see them that often. I think it was like $1,000 for an A, and that's usually what you can get a 1 for.
Yeah, they're around pop 20 to 30 at PSA, and probably a little bit more at SGC. So they are pretty scarce cards. A lot of them too are pasted into the albums as well, as we've seen. And there's very creative ways to get them off, but a lot of times the backs get messed up. So even if you find one with a back that's not terrible, it's a huge W. Also, considering these, even with the printing too, a lot of it was inconsistent. So if you have a card that is good color, that's also very highly valued.
There's also one thing about that set too. I can't remember the guy's name on top of my head, but one was like a redemption card, and that's why most complete sets or quote unquote complete sets are 99 out of 100 cards. That one extra card, I think you'd have like the full binder pasted in just to get that other card.
Oh, I know the Napoleon Reyes.
Napoleon Reyes, yeah, it was escaping me, but that's so expensive.
Yeah, which is funny because so the good segue to we're next to talk about the Almanac Deportivo set. Napoleon Reyes' card of this is not that expensive, which is pretty funny. It's like very cheap, like 30-40 bucks ish. And I think there's one on eBay for like 50 bucks right now. Like it's not expensive at all, which is funny because the other one is super expensive. But this right here is another one of Manuel Cocuena Garcia. And this is his Almanac Deportivo card. Pretty cool because they use color on these, but you cut these from a magazine. And that's why you see the as the back with all these different like random words on it. So that was pretty cool there. And did end up getting the authentic, but I mean, they were all hand cut, so you know it makes sense there. That's fine. But I'm pretty happy to have that one. I got that one for fairly cheap as well, so I was pretty excited to add that. That was my first or one of my first League League cards I added to my collection.
And thank you, Card Twitter, for that one because that's where that one was originally found.
Oh, that's right. That was
Twitter. Twitter's great, guys. A quick shout out if you want to follow us on Twitter. We saw a lot of cards there and pretty active on the platform. We'll answer a few more questions while you get your next cards out. How many N162s do you have? I probably have 3 or 4 boxers. I have 2 tennis players. Well, also I have 1 or 2 wrestlers. I'd probably say I have at least 5, but probably less than 10. Love to see so many young vintage collectors. No, this is awesome. You got to have the next generation collecting. Also, my LCS has a Mickey Mantle auto. It's always really good. Cracker Jack, if you have the grand, just name your price. I will bid $1 more than Paul because I really want to have that one and they don't sell. So Paul, let me buy that card. I am LOL. Sorry, I 2 people flipped. I got the Hornsby, Marquardt, and Bottomley and some other baseball players.
Nice.
Really, really good stuff. How about 70-ish, 52 signed right now? Lots of dupes. Still, man, acquiring 70 of those takes a lot of time. Like, it's impressive. And plus your profile picture over there, see the Clemente rookie card. So definitely have a good taste in vintage cards. I want that signed Minozo. We'll add 80s become vintage down the line. See, like, my perspective of vintage is it changes between like sports or non-sports. Like, for me, like I have a music collection. 80s is considered vintage music cards. But like with baseball, since it goes all the way back to the 1800s, like it's kind of tough to say if like 80s is really considered vintage or not. It's really in the community of cards that you're into, which I know sounds weird, but like each genre of cards has its own definition of what is considered vintage. I already pasted that Felix Podin in there. I know my LCS has a lot of mini vintage boxing cards, but they have color, so I don't think they're the same. Maybe they are E77 scrappers. Those are also tough to find. I have 1 Jack Johnson, I think. Probably they are amazing, though. And then do you think that the hobby is alive or dying? I mean, I think the hobby's alive. I go to shows all the time, and they're always really packed. When I was a kid, like the card shows, there's very few kids there, and like barely anyone was at the show. Nowadays, what was considered like a big local show is kind of like a very, very small show. So if you look at it from the perspective over like 10, 15 years, the hobby is definitely growing. Sure, it's down the last year or maybe 2 years, but that's all markets. So you have to go up and down. You can't just always go up.
Yo, found that too. It's funny when people would always say like, "Oh, the market's down, this and that," and you go to these Dallas card shows, and it's just absolutely packed. Like just you can't even walk through some of the aisles when it gets to like the hot times, like around like 1 to 3 p.m. on a Saturday. So I find that pretty funny as well.
Absolutely. And then a few more things over here. Do you guys do TTMs? I do not. I know that's a whole nother thing. I'm so busy with my own PCs, and then plus like cards isn't full time for me, so there's only so much time in the day. My set registry is up, and then one last one. We'll go through some more stuff. What do you guys ever do? Grading services? Actually, yeah. So we're working on one right now. So can't fully name drop the company that we're going to be working with, but the background might be a little bit of a hint. Does owning an autographed copy of Spying Face give me a follow back? Absolutely. Shoot me a picture on Twitter and I'll follow you back right now and on Instagram.
Let's
Yep.
go.
All right.
And
So
then
Steven, show us some more cards.
ready for the next part?
Yeah.
All right, so I almost forgot this one out. I can't believe I did because it's a pretty cool card. It's one that Ryan's wanted for a while too, and I promised him when I saw the next one I was going to try to hook it up for him. But this is a Stan Musial, his first ever card from in the Propaganda Montreal set. This is an authentic for obvious reasons, but this card is very tough in terms of condition. As you can see, it's very thin. Maybe if you notice that from the picture, it's just a very thin card. Very cool as well. And it's just crazy that Stan Musial has his first ever card from Cuba, of all places. Like, you wouldn't really expect it, but it absolutely is. His other ones, his Leaf and then his Bowman were 1948, which, we might have one in inventory right now.
Yeah, we do have one in stock.
So, yeah, this
you
is
picked one up in Dallas.
rookie card is, or one of his rookie cards is from. So funny enough, we can have that inventory right next to me, so I can show you guys as well, like a side-by-side comparison of his first ever card and then his other rookie card.
I will gladly sell my Leaf rookie and a bunch of my other propagandas for that Musial if I ever get the chance.
Yeah, I remember you were super close to getting one and the deal fell through, and I was like, oh man.
Yeah, I know. I was so upset because I really wanted that card, and then the guy passed last second. He's like, I want to keep the card, but those funds are going somewhere else. Let's hope I get that Langford next week. If I get that Langford, to me, like, that Langford's harder to find in the Musial, but still at the same time, I really want that Musial one day.
Yeah, it's a cool one. And then also, so I was telling you guys, I'm going to go a little out of order here for just a quick second because I do collect a lot of the like Negro League Hall of Famers, and some of them, believe it or not, have very cheap cards, and this is because they didn't have any playing day cards. So their first ones are from around like 1974 in the Laughlin set, or there's also ones from 1978, but a lot of them are from the 1974 Laughlin set. So I'm going to show some of those now. First off, Smokey Joe Williams right here. And all these cards, by the way, that I'm going to show you around like really like 30 to like $75, really not that expensive. But Smokey Joe Williams, this is technically his rookie card, right? So I collect all those.
Minus that Josh Gibson, though.
Oh, that's right. The Josh Gibson's, I guess, a second card. But yeah, that was a cool one. Next, Rube Foster. You also have Willie Foster. I believe they were related, right? Or no?
I don't know for sure. I wouldn't say
this card for some reason always OC. I don't know why, just the way it was cut. And then Judd Wilson.
And they chip fairly easily too.
Yeah, and they don't. I guess they're a little bit thicker than normal, or not thicker, wider than normal cards because they don't fit. PSA doesn't put them in the normal, slab as compared to. We picked like this. Man, we have an inventory right here. It has its own like little part in the holder. This does not. It's like wide open. There's a bunch of space, especially off the top right here.
But that is a fun set.
Yeah, it's a cool one. And for the guys who don't have actual playing day cards, I guess these are technically their rookie cards. And I want to have some sort of something representative of them in my PC. So I just chose these as something I'm going to casually pick up. It's something that's like too crazy, but they are somewhat like uncommon-ish. But it's something that I want to get the guys for the placeholders. And I think it's pretty cool. You don't have to spend that much money. You guys can do the same. It's just a cool thing to collect. So I wanted to be able to do that.
Yeah, and actually, it's funny, on Instagram this week, I saw like 2 or 3 autographs someone had of Satchel Paige on that set, which is crazy. So a few more comments real quick. Propagandas are thin. Yep. I'm deciding if I want to do a trade. What do you guys think? Receive a Connie Mack auto, and I trade a Sandy Koufax auto. So I don't know what the rarer autograph is. I'd assume Koufax would be a little bit more pricey, although it might not be as rare just because more people know who he is. But I can't tell you because I'm not familiar with that market. Fun fact about 52 set, a lot of the stories in the back, so the cards talk about World War II. Yeah, that is pretty cool. Remember there was a 1955, or it wasn't 50, I don't know what it was. I'm going to scrap that comment. I was going to say there's a card back that was mentioning it, but I can't remember what it was. His name is Eddie, I guess it was shot 40. Yeah, that was the one card. That was a Bowman card. And definitely Connie Mack is rare. So, I mean, for me, I like scarcity. You can always buy something that's more common again.
And was that all the comments, or you still have some more?
Yeah, that was all the comments.
Okay. So this one, I can't believe I almost skipped over this. We're still around 1947. This is one of my favorite cards in my collection, the Jackie Robinson pre-rookie, which is just really cool. This one itself looks fairly nice as well. I know a lot of them have staining because they were literally packaged with the bread. So this one does not, although it has a slight crease. I still do believe it's a pretty good looking too, though. This is considered, so Jackie Robinson has multiple cards from the 47 Bond Bread set and multiple different poses. That one is considered the portrait and is also the only one, as you can see right here, with his actual name on the front of the card, which is pretty cool. And that's a card I picked up at Dallas, actually, not my last trip to Dallas, but the one before that. And it was actually the people were getting ready to leave, and it was like a last second kind of negotiation thing going on, and I was able to close it. I was super excited about it because I just wanted something really cool of Jackie Robinson represented in my PC, and I was like, oh, why not his, first card? So I was very excited for that one. And yeah, that's one of those cards that, I mean, it'd be cool to like upgrade over time, but there really aren't too many of them. PSA population's around 100, so not in super ultra rarity, but also definitely not a common card either. It's definitely in a sense rare.
So Dan said what Langford. So Langford's from this set right over here, Red Suns. These are from actually 1910. 1908 is incorrect label. But what I love them is the backs on them. If you can check out that, it is such a cool back. And the black boxers in the set are really, really tough to find because it was based out of Louisiana. Being in the South during that time, it was pretty racist. So a lot of these were thrown away. So if you have the Jack Johnson, which I alluded to earlier, is one of the cards I really, really want. The Jeanette, Gans, and Langford, those are some of the really, really tough boxing cards in the early 1900s to get. Now, on the deal I'm working on, there's two of them. There's the Jeanette, but it's like half ripped. And then there's also the Langford, which could be anywhere from like a 2 to maybe a 3.5. So figure out some pricing still, working on that. The guy I'm going to purchase it from just sent them the SGC. So when they get back, I'm going to be selling some cards to be able to get that. But he also has a upgrade on the Satel, so I'll be able to get that too.
And then ready. Okay, so I'm going to go for the next ones for you guys. We're going to go, and now we're going to go a little bit into the basketball PC and also part of my actual Cons Wieners PC, which people find pretty interesting. And I've just kind of accumulated them over time. So to start it out, this is a George Mikan rookie card from Kellogg's, a multi-sport set. It's a little smaller card, but still very cool. I like this one a lot. So his other card, I mean, like the better one would technically be the Bowman 48. But the thing is with that card, it's definitely a much nicer card, the Bowman 48, but it's a lot more expensive as well. Like even like PSA 1s are running around probably the $3,000 range. This card in a 1.5, and it looks pretty good for a 1.5, was I think around $300 when I got it, which I thought was an absolute steal because it's also a rookie card. And although the picture definitely isn't as good, I mean, for like 10x less the price, I thought that was a pretty decent deal. It's one that I picked up and just kind of held because I think I also think George Mikan is one of those in basketball that they don't really go over a lot of the older players. I put him almost as like the Babe Ruth of basketball to a sense, and he really doesn't get his name out there that much, and a lot of people don't even know who he is that play basketball, which is pretty crazy. So he's a little bit of an unsung hero there, and I'm glad to have that card. Next one through basketball. Let's go. I'm going to go to the other ones and then the cons. So the only other ones, because basketball is interesting, so there really aren't that too many sets and also that many cards that are rare. So you really got to look around for them. This first one I'm going to show. So this is actually Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's first ever card from 1968, 1 year before the Topps issue. And this is from the Mira Tuta Sport set, which was an Italian set. It also has a Wilt Chamberlain as well as other sports in there as well. So pretty cool card there, a little small. It is condition sensitive. As you can see on the back right here, there's a little bit of a printing error. This is because there's a sheet that's supposed to go over them. And I think it had something that went along with the Olympics. And that's actually how this card was made, funny enough. But yeah, this is before he was even ever on in the NBA and ever on the Bucks. So that's pretty cool right there. And then the next card, and these are both cream grails, but this card right here. So at first glance, you might think, oh, this is like 1972 Topps, whatever, nothing big. But this is actually his ComSpec card. and it looks a little different. It's also very thin, similar to the Propaganda Montiel. And if we look from back over here, let me see where it says. Here it says Long Beach, California, which is pretty cool because if you know Kareem very well, he played in UCLA. So to have a card with that background as well, and the California background was just really cool. And this card is very tough as well. ComSpec is the second toughest basketball set, with the first being the 1968 Topps Test. And I'm definitely looking for some of those Topps Test cards. They're just very hard to find. Those are some of those two where maybe for the big Hall of Fame names, maybe one sells every couple of years. It's just one of those in terms of rarity, and they're valued well in the hobby, but a lot of people don't even know a lot about them. So they're pretty cool there. And then I guess we're almost ready to Oh, go on.
Yeah, I was going to go through a few comments here because actually one alludes to one of your next cards that you're going to have. But
let's go ahead.
John Mangini joined the chat. John, I got to get you also on this one of these episodes. So
yeah, what's up, John?
I got to see a lot more of your collection. Every time I watch your videos, it's always some insane stuff. Love your channel. Thank you so much. The cons are going to be start pitting in the chat. Steven does not have that one. Do you think the Bonds should be in the Hall of Fame? I think he should not. I think he should be in the Hall of Fame. Great young collectors here. John, didn't you just pick one up, the 48 Mikan? But I agree, it's an underrated card. Like, I don't collect basketball, and I still want to PC eventually one day. Mikan instigated rule changes due to his dominance. The Frank Robinson cards are still underrated. Steven is going to show you Frank Robinson in a second. That's all I got to show that. Italian cards have printing issues. Even Panini cards are miscut all the time from 60s. Can confirm, especially within my music PC. Well, 68 Paninis, really. 72s are also pretty miscut. We need to give vintage basketball some more love. There's just not a ton of vintage basketball out there, really. And then also we have vintage cards. He's one of the most underrated players of all time. I think you should show the Frank Robinson that you have.
Yeah, so a great transition there. I think this is actually going to be the last couple cards in my PC, except for I had one other one I didn't show that was basketball. I think I'm going to give up.
Yeah, you just picked one up. Like I said, it's a really, really good card. I know Steven still really wants one as well in his PC.
Okay, here we go. Yeah, so this, I want to show you this to you guys. So some believe that the 57 Topps is the first Frank Robinson card, but it's not. He actually has a 56 Cons, and this is it right here. This is a card that I picked up. Actually, it was picked up right after I picked up that Minoso, and it was really tough because I had to get funds together, and I really was out a lot at the time, but it's just a super cool card. This one of Frank Robinson and PSA around a pop 20. Again, very, very hard to find. You really don't see them for sale a lot. And it's something that I saw, and I'm like, oh, man, this is my opportunity. This is my shot. I ended up finding someone with it that was looking to sell, and I was like, oh, boy, this is really cool. And I also had some other Cons cards as well. Like I have actually some of the best Cons cards I actually have, which is pretty cool. And also we went to, I believe they're a regional set from, I think it's from Ohio, right? Because at the Strongville
show. They are Ohio.
So it's regional from Ohio. So when I was there, I was also picked up one of those for my PC. And this is transitioning to the next one in basketball stuff. This is the Big O, Oscar Robinson. This is his first ever card. Check that out.
That was Strongsville show in Cleveland. You bought that raw, right?
Yeah, and funny story. I wanted to I went to the guy. He was like firm on price or whatever, and I was like, okay, let me go ahead and pay you. He's like, oh, I can only do cash, and this is like I think I got it for around $1,000, and I was like, oh my god, I don't know if I have enough. So I had to go and check. We had to go to the ATM. I think we rushed the ATM or something, and then I went to a friend actually that happened to have cash on him, and I just PayPal'd him back. And thankfully let me do it because I was able to add this one to my PC. And I didn't even think it would get a 3. So the fact that I even got like the 3 on the Robertson was awesome. I thought it was going to be around like a 1 or 1.5 to 2. But they're very lenient on the hot dog stand. So a 3 was just an amazing grade on that. And I was super happy. I was stoked. And I did one of the things, unfortunately, I did end up missing out. I'm looking for the 1955 All-American Bill Russell card, and it was through auction, and I didn't have a ton of money at the time, although it went for a good price. I ended up not passing on that, but I did pick up the Oscar Robertson, so I'll take what I can get there. I'm still very happy. And this next one is also pretty crazy as well. My second card in my PC that is autographed. This is a Jerry West from 1960 Cons. This is also his true rookie as well. because it comes 1 year before the Fleer, and it is autographed, which is crazy. I think this is a Pop 3, if I remember correctly. And this is the highest. This one has the best condition out of all the ones that are graded, and it is an auto 9, so it's not the like best graded auto, but it is the best graded card out of the 3. So that's pretty cool there. And for something like this, although like for example, like Jerry West's autograph is not too insanely rare to any extent, when it's put on a card like this, then all of a sudden your rarity factor goes up, because this card in itself is also around a Pop 20 at PSA. Meaning there's probably, when you really go through the math, you add SGC, there's probably around 30 to 40 copies when you include the ones that are in the wild as well that probably exist as of now. So the fact that I have one of those 3 that gets to be signed is just pretty cool right there.
So a few more comments. Steven, your collection is what I want mine to be in 20 years.
You got this, man. It's crazy. It's cool that you're only 14. That's kind of crazy, because like Ryan and I are both young too, so we're both rooting for you to get cool cards in your collection. Yours is gonna look like this. If mine, honestly, I didn't really get back in the hobby until that one card show that Ryan brought me to, and that was, I mean, that had to be around like 3 years ago. So if I can do this in 3 years, you can do even more than that in 20. So best of luck to you.
Yeah, I can't imagine what your PC is going to be looking like in your 20s, man. Like you said, you already had some 1926 Spalding champions, and like I didn't even know about those at age 14. So what I knew at that time is 50s through 70s baseball. That's what my dad taught me. I didn't know anything about pre-war cards, and the fact that you're already there, like you're way ahead of the curve. I think collecting signed sets are very fun. Not only the difficulty, but you get to learn a lot about the players who signed them, and your oldish a piece of history. Check out my cards. We're just talking about how great Frank Robinson was and how unappreciated it is. I agree. I mean, it was tough. I had a Frank Robinson rookie in a 6, and I ended up using it as in a trade to get a Campy and a 7 rookie. And I still need to get a Robinson rookie once again, but I think I'll probably just save up for the cons. Some good boxing too. Boxing's always fun. Big O. So anything else you have, Steven, in your collection, or is that it?
I just have one more. This is one. So this is of Dolph Schayes and of 1961. The reason why I have it is because I myself am Jewish, and I'm starting to collect a lot of like Jewish athletes, and Dolph Schayes was probably one of probably the best like Jewish basketball player and most known. I guess there are a few others, and I guess if you include guys like Amari Stoudemire and someone like Jordan Farmer, but especially Amari Stoudemire, because he was probably, I guess you could say, the best. He wasn't Jewish born, but he ended up converting to Judaism. So that one, maybe I'll have to grab one of his rookie cards too. Not sure yet, but I'm starting with the vintage of like just all-time great Jewish sports players. I'll eventually get a cool Koufax on the PC and maybe a Greenberg as well. That's something to look down the line. I just want to figure out. I kind of, especially for those two, want to get something that's pretty rare and cool. And also the Ryan, if you have it still on you, the Abe Ableton was one of the Jewish.
Abe Attell. Yeah.
Yeah, the Red Sun. So if you still have that there, I know you showed it before, but yeah, that's something pretty cool and something I've wanted to start collecting. It's just like a little fun thing. And for me too, it's just cool to see there's not a ton of Jewish athletes out there. So I want to be able to see if I can grab some.
Yeah, so that's a 1963 K-Top. I think that's what the set of all the famous like Jewish athletes and stuff like that and non-sports figures.
Oh, interesting. I didn't even know about that. I'd like to see pictures for sure. If you have Paul, Paul's on Twitter, right? If you like,
no, he's in our Discord server. He'll send it to you.
Oh,
so guys,
yeah, send me some on Discord. That'd be pretty cool. I'd like to see that.
So while Steven's here, do you guys have any other questions for Steven? Each week we're gonna have like another like 5 or 10 minutes at the very end. You can ask questions to the guests that we don't really answer throughout the entire time. And that way you guys can learn a little bit more about their specialty and stuff like that, and just kind of learn the cards. Benny Leonard, I have a few of his cards. And Frank statistically top 5. I don't know if he's top 5. I definitely think he's top 20, but not top 5. Lots of great early Jewish boxers. Yeah, there's a lot of them. And then Trip. If no questions for Steven, guys, thank you very much. We're wrapping up. Oh, we have actually one question over here. What got you into collecting?
Ooh, that's a good question. So I remember when I was younger, my dad actually used to collect cards a long time ago, and he hasn't really gotten back in the hobby. He just like kind of did it when he was younger. Whatever he had, he kept. So I went ahead one day, and he had all the stuff in a safety deposit box when he's younger. He still does, although like the PC he has isn't like anything insane to where it's like huge.
Wow, The T206 Cobb he has.
Except, yeah, so I was getting to that. So one of the cards he has, which I just always thought was cool. It was like, Steven, this is my like Ty Cobb card. And he taught me about like I knew about T206 when I was younger too, which is pretty crazy because like that's not something that most kids would know about. But he just happened to have it. I guess he got in a trade somehow. I have no idea how he came across it, but he's had it for years. And I'm going to tell the story of that card first. He finally went ahead and allowed me to get it graded, but he wouldn't send it through the mail. So I took it to a national, ended up getting graded there. Probably overpaid a bit, but it was a pretty cool card, and I wanted to have that safe. That's one that if it got pushed on to me, and it's still in his collection, but if it's one that got pushed on to me and I ended up inheriting, that would be something that I would be forever PC, because the sentimental value of that is what got me into like vintage card collecting. And just like that card in general, I always thought it was just so cool and interesting how those little like cigarette cards, like most cards are just, normal and bland, but that one had like a cool little story to it. It has a lot of sentimental value for me. And also is, I believe it's a like 460 out of 25. So it's a fairly rare back as well. So that's also a cool attribute of that card. But yeah, he had some other ones too that were just pretty cool. And they were definitely manual, a lot of PSA ones in there, but it was still very cool. And that's kind of what got me into just card collecting. I started to collect a lot of basketball and like a lot of other stuff. And a lot of my basketball, a lot of stuff, I didn't really go to card shows when I was younger. I didn't know they existed. So I just kind of at basketball camp, like when they give away cards, I would just like play in these like games to like win or like do these competitions to win. And I want to see, like I would always be motivated to win because I wanted to get a pack of cards. I wanted to add to my collection. So that's kind of what I would do, which is pretty interesting because most people, I don't know if most people have those stories about being at like a basketball camp or any sort of camp and like winning cards and be able to do it like that. But that's kind of how I started my collecting journey.
Yeah, if we have no more questions, thank you, Stephen, for jumping on. Guys, we're going to do this every Thursday at 8 o'clock. We're going to have a bunch of different guests. So we haven't even lined up next week yet, but we will. Anything from baseball to cricket, non-sports. Like, I want to make sure that you guys get informed about different types of cards out there. And also, like in the process, when I interview people, I learn as well. So we're going to continue to do that every single week. Also, if you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure to subscribe. Also follow on Twitter and Instagram because we're active on both those platforms. And we also have a bunch of cards to sell as well. So if you guys are looking for anything, shoot us a message because we're going to shows every single week. And you saw the 40 Bowman Musial that we have available. Some other really, really cool stuff. Like we have some Venezuela autographs and some pretty cool stuff in general.
But yeah, it's good. It's good to be on the channel and to get to see you guys. I know I'm always behind the scenes. So yeah, Ryan, thank you and everything. And yeah, we're looking forward to the next one. I'm glad to have the personal collection back and rolling.
Awesome. All right, guys. Thank you for tuning in. I'll see you guys next week.